Kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome on a bright and fresh sunrise safari. We are on our way to lions on a buffalo kill, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning everybody, and welcome to what is a spectacular early summer's day here in the 8.5 million acre wilderness that is the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. We're in the Kruger, that is the iconic park of South Africa, and on the western fringes thereof the Sabi Sand. In the Sabi Sand we of course are on Juma, a beautiful little spit of land that we are very privileged to call home. This is my tent. My name is James Henry. On camera today is David. Hello, David.
Hello, James.
And as you've met Jamie already, you know about her. Also out on drive, the inimitable Brent Leo Smith is speeding around, hoping for a repeat of the wild dog sighting we had yesterday. Stefan is out on foot, knocking about the place. And if you look very carefully, just down there is Taylor McCurdy, everybody. She's searching for insects with a homemade insect net of sorts. Right, so we've got lots of action for this morning. We're very much looking forward to talking to you. Hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter, or questions at WildEarthTV. It would be good to hear from you during the course of the morning. We have a number of things we're hoping to show you today, and while we do that, while we find what is best to show you, let's head across to Stefan van der Boer to find out what he's got.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, it's myself, Stef van der Boer, and Jandra on camera, and we are enjoying that sunset that is just peeking up over the horizon. A brilliant orange ball right now. It was a little bit red when it arrived, but we absolutely got to see the sun this morning, so it doesn't look like the weather's going to change much today. Around about 66 degrees Fahrenheit, very comfortable to walk around at the moment, I must be honest with you. And we heard some leopard calling around the camp last night, so we're just making a perimeter check on all the most prominent game paths around the camp, just to see in which direction that leopard went. I know it sounded like a female. Brent found some female tracks going out somewhere, and there's some male. And it was Chris Rogue that found Tingana, or saw Tingana on the dam cam drinking at the pan. Probably him that was calling around. He never stops calling when he gets here. He's a leopard that enjoys that sort of thing. So we're checking the main game paths around Djuma at the moment to see where those tracks come out, and then we'll see, I suppose, where the wind takes us at the end of the day, and we'll see what happens from there. No other plan for this morning. Just that, and it's sometimes nice to let yourself just wander, to be quite honest. And Brent, I hear, is also watching this beautiful sunrise, so we are going to go, and well, you're going to go and watch that with him.
Morning and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. Brian, Jube on camera, myself, Brent Leo Smith. We decided we're going to do a slow motion sensory safari today. No, of course, we're only joking. We're out on the southern boundary looking for Queen Karula. Remember, this is live, so the sun is just popping over the eastern horizon here in South Africa. And for you not sure who Queen Karula is, she's the dominant female leopard. She's been a bit scarce over the last little while. She had a kill in the property to the south of us. Both her cubs were seen yesterday, but she wasn't. The kill is finished. So I'm hoping to find fresh pug marks of her coming back to visit us on Juma. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you'd like to send me any questions. At the moment I am going in slow motion. That's so I don't miss any tracks in this gorgeous morning light. So far, no sign of Queen Karula, but there are cats, and they're happy cats. because they've got bellies full of buffalo. Let's go have a look.
There are definitely some very full bellies here, and what a fantastic way to start off our morning safari then, with 5 lionesses munching away on a buffalo, and hopefully at some point 8 little cubs as well. And the lionesses are at this point so full that they're kind of half-heartedly eating, nibbling, kind of like the sort of leftovers of somebody's large Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. The luncheon sandwiches afterwards. Oh, yummy. Doesn't that look appealing first thing in the morning? They very conveniently chose a spot where we can only park upwind of the carcass, for which I am exceptionally thankful. Listen to the mum calling. She's calling to her cubs. How wonderful is that sound? Come on, little ones. Mommy's calling. She's been thoroughly ignored. How very rude. It's a very noisy morning out here. The doves are also being exceptionally vocal. Come on, little cubs. You're being called for breakfast. Anticipation. Oh, somebody's up. Here we go. Ah! And they have emerged, full of the joys of spring, of course. And thoroughly entertaining. This lioness. Oh, look at the strength of these animals. That's incredible. Even with a little bit of it eaten, that buffalo carcass is still mammothly heavy. Much, much heavier than she is. She's just managed to roll the whole thing over. Oh, I don't know where to look. There's so much happening this morning. Now the cubs are calling back. Completely ignoring the calls of Mum. Far too involved in their games. And there's just little lion cubs everywhere. Looking a little bit dirty, like they've been covered in buffalo juice. Just sitting quietly for a moment so that you can appreciate the sounds that are coming from these little creatures. Big fearsome predators practicing their roars. Not quite as intimidating as the adults just yet. Very contented little cubs, bellies full of buffalo, cousins and siblings to play with, and an endless array of sticks to chew on. And at some point, those little baby teeth are going to stay, the cubs are actually going to start teething. And just imagine what a nightmare it must be dealing with 8 little lion cubs that are wanting to chew absolutely everything, including each other and moms and aunts. Look at them go. Isn't it going to... Oh, I got you. Oh, practicing that all-important back grab that one day will serve them very, very well when it comes time to hunt buffaloes with mom and aunts. Oh, is it breakfast time? Nope. Playtime. Got you. I'm just trying to see. I think that's the youngest lioness that they're playing with. Oh. All coming to join in the game. And of course, oh. No, that's not the young lioness. It's one of the mums. Yes, I know, girl. Life's tough, huh? Where are you going, adventurers? Don't disappear too far. All the way up onto Gowrie Cut Line. My, we are getting very brave. Of course, we always need to do a head count whenever we sit with the Nkuhumas now, having known the tendency of them to go off adventuring and disappear for 2 days. I am, of course, talking about Hansel and Gretel, the cubs that went missing and got lost, and only managed to reunite after 3 days. I think that trauma is a little bit forgotten now. All reunited and very contented, with enormous bellies full of buffalo. Which is amazing, because the last time I saw the Nkuhumas, they had bellies full of buffalo already, and then they went out that night and hunted another one. Oh, look at that! Combination of yoga and breakfast at the same time. Yummy. How thoroughly unpleasant. Are you stuck, girl? And unless you were wondering, with their full bellies, would they be more willing to share with the male that came through? And as you know, of course, they don't really have a choice in the matter. But lions will always be less aggressive around kills when they have full bellies. So if you watch initially when the lions first make a kill, there's lots of growling at each other, lots of defensiveness over their particular corner of the kill that they're feeding on. And then as they start to gorge themselves, then they get, oh, that poor lioness. She looks so put upon. They're using her as a jungle gym. That face. But yes, they will be more willing to share with full bellies than they might otherwise, which makes total sense. Hello, girl. Yes. As the flies start to gather around the lionesses and their slightly smelly buffalo meal, let's go back over to Stef and see which particular insect he's found for you this time.
Have a look at this little guy. We've just been walking on these game paths around the camp just to have a look for Tingana or any other sign of any big cat around the camp, and we bumped into this assassin bug. He's still sleeping, he's snoozing in this morning, and the reason for that is that he's a daytime predator and not a nighttime predator, and he needs the air temperature to warm up a little bit more before he gets going. Isn't that crazy? So now, he needs to stay hidden. He doesn't have a house to go into. And so what he does is he camouflages himself like a stick. So he's looking exactly like the terminal end of a stick. He's got his abdomen sticking up in the air. He's got his head down very low to the stick. And any nocturnal predator will come and think he's a stick if he doesn't move. The trick with insects is he's got to stay very still. They hunt primarily by feel and movement. Just have a look at that. We've been seeing quite a lot of these assassins around lately. I think it's probably one of the most common, next to the housefly, which plagues me. Next to it's the most common of the insects around right now. This little assassin bug. And something that we've noted from time to time is this white abdomen that they have. And right here on the tip of his thorax, which is that middle piece inside there, they've got a slight fuzz, or at least some spikes that come out of that thorax and head. Not too sure exactly what they're for. It could just be his particular or their particular type of decoration. I find that very interesting. Not much else on the stick. I think he's going to find slim fares today when he finally starts to hunt. And then a long walk to the next bush. There's quite fresh elephant dung around, I must be honest. You can have a look over here. Let's see. So breaking it open with a foot, always a good thing. And then immediately feeling for body heat. And this is ice cold. They call it the night chill. And you can absolutely feel the freezing temperatures transferred all the way through the dung. And that'll dry out. So it was probably deposited around about sunset yesterday, around about there. Let's have a look up here quickly. We've got a flock of starling above us, wheeling about. Actually no, those are buffalo weavers. So this is the first flight of the buffalo weavers that live in the fever trees at Juma, and they fly around in a flock together, landing, picking up whatever sticks they can, and then flying back to the nest. All right, and on that note, James has got I don't know if he's got something exciting for you. I'm sure he has something exciting for you in that tent of his.
I'm warning you now, everybody, this is slightly macabre. What I have done, just to warn you, is cut off Woody the woodpecker's head. And I have plucked him and taken the skin off, because what I wanted to show you is the astounding tongue. So it is going to be pretty disgusting, I'm going to warn you, but it is amazing. Here is Woody. Woody did die of natural causes. Well, he flew into a window, which isn't particularly natural, but we didn't kill him. Look at this is the tongue, and you can see there where it begins. It begins behind the beak. It goes around the back of his head. It splits in two, and then goes down towards this barbed tip. That's the barbed tip that goes spiking into the holes that he drills. So if we were to put him back, or sort of put it back this way, there it is. That's where it sits in his mouth. See? And he sticks it out until it's that far out of his mouth. Isn't that amazing? I think that is absolutely astounding. Now, the barbed piece here is actually a sheath. It seems to be a sort of cartilaginous sheath that sticks over the top. And what we're going to do now is just stick these barbs underneath the microscope and see what they look like there. Davey, if you don't mind, I'm just going to put this box on the ground. Now, let's see. I'll just focus. Well, I'll try and focus. You know, I'm not very fast with this microscope. Why is it not showing? Sorry, everybody. One day I'll get it correct. There we are. Right, there we are. There you are. So you can see there the barbs. Look how sharp it is on the end. And those barbs are like little spear points. Let me turn it around. There we go. Now you can see they're like little spear points, and they will hook and stab into any little insect that he manages to catch, or that he doesn't manage to, that he used to manage to catch. And so, a bit like, I suppose, an old school whaler's harpoon. We seem to, no, we're okay. Good, I thought we'd nearly lost our signal there on the microscope, but it seems to be okay. So that's the sad story of Woody the woodpecker. I'm going to also take the top of his head off and see if we can't find that spongy outer casing that stops his brain from being concussed. So, we have some lions, we have the brain of the woodpecker to look forward to. We're going to go off to a short fake break, and we'll see you just after that. Right, we're still with you, obviously, as we were before. We're just having to practice those little things. And the idea behind that, just to explain it to you, is that we learn how to throw forward, if you know what I mean. So with the TV audience, we give them a bit of a cliffhanger to come back to after the advert break, because you know how an advertisement can distract you from what you are watching. Now, I'm not going to cut his head open while you are watching me cut his head open, because, well, that will just be disgusting. So, well, and it is disgusting. He's starting to smell a bit niffy as well. So we'll put him back over here. And let's go over to the map here and give you an idea of where Jamie is. Hang one sec, Davey, sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly look exactly where the other two are. Right here, I can see now. Cable. Chip's cable. Right, that means watch out for the cable, David's just saying. Unfortunately, my wildebeest here, Wilmina, we'll call her Wilmina. There was been some complaint that I've named all of the animals in the tent after males. That's because they were males, you see. So we will call the wildebeest here Wilmina, the wildebeest. She's not being very cooperative today, David, is she? No, she isn't. Anyway, right. Let's have a look. Do you like our map, everybody? We quite like it. We're quite pleased with its existence. I will just point out some particularly impressive features. This side, perhaps for the shadow, Dave, because it's morning now. This, of course, is the hyena den. That's very nice, yes, the old hyena den. This is the Balanites tree at Zoe's Road. This is the jackalberry tree on Gowrie Cutline, and that is where Jamie is sitting right now with the Nkuhumas. That's their buffalo, of course, which is dead. Very nice. And then down over here is Brent Leo Smith. He's sitting over there. And this over here, BLS, big, loud sound. And over here is the African hawk eagles, sorry, the Batalier's nest on Leadwood Road. Yes, that's what that is. We have also one other nest, interesting nest site here, Walby, the Wahlbergs. You know Mr. and Mrs. Wahlbergs, that's where they are over there. And this artwork, everybody, was created by Kirsten McLennan Smith, who moonlights as a professional mapping artist in the camp, which is very nice. And Geraldine also, of course, sorry, Geraldine, yes, Geraldine would also like credit. She did the Photoshop work, which you can see is exceptional. So a team effort here. I think it's a great map. It shows exactly what's going on. Then I think Stef is somewhere around here. He's not too far from that hyena den there. Stef on the bushwalk, and what they are doing is, well, you know what they're doing. They're looking for perhaps the luckiness of a leopard in the morning, which would be great. So that's the lay of the land at the moment. I'm not sure what Brent's plan is, but what I think is quite nice to see here, and I don't know if you ever get to see this, but when you go to Cheetah Plains, what happens is you go down onto the southern boundary, and we head across this way, and along this road, and then down, this is Nkoro here, and we head down onto Cheetah Plains, and that road there, you know that you kind of lose us. The signal isn't great, but that's why it's a slightly disjointed kind of thing, and we're not allowed to go onto any of these little reserves. Animals, of course, can come and go as they please, and that's how it goes. Let's head right back to the banks of the great Umluamati drainage with the Nkuhuma Pride.
And we are still with our Nkuhumas, making a terrible racket whilst they feed from the milk bar, fighting over access to Mom. And welcome back to our TV audiences. We are still here live from the heart of Nkuhuma Private Game Reserve, alongside a river system with 5 lionesses and 8 little cubs on a buffalo kill. Isn't it incredible that you can watch this wherever you are in the world, coming to you live, happening right here and right now? And what a racket these little cubs are making. Nothing washes down a buffalo breakfast like a little bit of mom's milk, but there's our siblings and cousins to contend with. I cannot believe the racket these little things are making. It's amazing that that much noise is coming from them. Our name is Jamie, and this is one of the most incredible sightings that we get to experience, sitting with a lion pride that we've been able to watch over the last, well, I've been able to watch over the last year or so, and getting to know them on a really, really personal level. And now to see them with 8 healthy, happy, bouncing little cubs is a truly special experience, especially after what the Nkuhumas have been through over the last year or so, since the takeover of the Birmingham males and the loss of several of their pride members as a result, and the dispersal of their young male cub Junior. To see them doing so well and being so successful is very, very special. And they really are. The Nkuhuma lionesses are seriously a force to be reckoned with. It seems as though they are taking down a buffalo every 2 or 3 days, which is impressive for 5 lionesses. It's no easy task, and it is something that they take their life into their hands each and every single time they do it. But with 8 hungry mouths to feed, it's hard being a lioness at the moment, but at least they have the support of their sisters. Now, Arathusa, you were wondering about us and the sort of proximity to the lions and how they view us, and whether or not they see us as some kind of weird moving tree or a living thing, and how they respond to that, and if they ever scent mark the vehicles. We've nearly been scent marked a few times, not intentionally. It's just so happened that we've been in the same line as the bush that the lions are urine spraying onto, or perhaps the leopard is urine scent marking onto, and that's because we've just happened to put our vehicle somewhere and they've decided that's where they want to scent mark. But it's not, the animals never intentionally scent mark the vehicles, no. In terms of how they see it, I think it depends upon the animal. Yes, I think in a way we are as much a part of their landscape as a tree or a termite mound. I don't think they view us as such, though. I know there's disagreement on this. I have never bought into the theory that the animals don't know that there are living things inside the vehicles and that they see it all as one unit. I know for a fact I have been looked at directly in the eyes by certain animals. And I also think, personally, that they know who is in control of that vehicle. Maybe not, but they know that the person in the front is responsible for it. I don't know why I think that. I think it's just experience in terms of watching them look at you. For us, our cameramen sit up behind us and much higher, and yet a lot of the time when the animals are walking past or when they're keeping an eye on us, they'll look directly at the driver rather than the cameraman. I don't buy into the idea that they don't know we're here. They do. We just happen to be not a threat to them and part of their landscape, as I said. And of course, you know, with these, you're seeing it in action right now. These cubs are growing up with us as a part of their day-to-day existence. Sometimes they look at us a little bit curiously. Sometimes their eyes track the movement of the vehicle's wheels. And sometimes they look straight at us. But other than that, there are far more entertaining things out here to keep them busy. And we're really not too much of a problem or a concern. That being said, I've also had animals try and use my vehicle. We had it with the hyena fight, a serious hyena skirmish between clan members, where the targeted hyena tried to climb underneath my vehicle. And I've had Amber Eyes, who, by the way, I don't know where she is. I said there were 5 lionesses, but I've done a head count and only count 4. I don't know if she's gone off to lie in the drainage line away from niggling cubs. But I've had Amber Eyes use my vehicle and play hide and seek before with a male, where she went round one side, around the back, and he went round and blocked her from one side, and then she tried to go around the other side, basically trying to ditch him and move off with one of the other females, and he wouldn't let her. And it started to get a bit disconcerting, and I believe Kirsty was on the back. It was her birthday. She watched the lioness slink around the back of the vehicle several times over. That was a very special experience, and it just goes to show how comfortable they are with the vehicles themselves. That being said, very important never to take that for granted. Just like it's very important for us not to take magical moments like this in the morning, dappled morning sunlight for granted. And speaking of morning sunlight, it's the best time of day to spot tracks. Let's go and have a look at which animal Stef is tracking.
While checking these game paths and tracks around the camp, well, for any of the signs from the animals passing through the night, we are looking for signs of Tingana. This morning, we've come across something that is a herald of the summer to come for us. This is one of the very first tracks of a scorpion that we're seeing, one of the largest scorpions that we've got. And I know it's a scorpion because of this straight line. That is one feature. That's his tail that's dragging on the floor behind him. And another feature is these feet imprints that they leave. They leave series of 3 next to one another, just slightly offset from one another. You can see there and there and there. This is the back foot, middle foot, front foot. Back foot, middle foot, front foot of a big scorpion, probably one of those big granulatus species of scorpion. I'm just going to draw you a picture quickly, if I can. See, since my colleagues are all getting good at these drawing pictures, I feel peer pressure to do it. So from the front, the scorpion's body is round and, well, oval really, with a tail that is held up over the head without the tail drag, right? Then you have one back foot, it's quite big. You have a middle foot, and you have a smaller right front foot that comes all the way to the... Oh, my stick is breaking. So back foot on the other side, middle foot, front foot. That, from the front, is what the scorpion looks like, and gives you that very distinctive 3 scratches that we're seeing over there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And every now and again the tail lies flat. The scorpion will look like this from the top. Pincers out this side. Tail dragging on the floor with its legs there, there and there, there, there and there. So that's the scorpion from the top view that you see. I'm getting well done on the drawings over there. They leave this very, very distinctive track. And I know that the nighttime temperatures are now high enough for these insects, or these arthropods at least anyway, to get going. And that is a good sign of summer to come. It means that they are starting to hunt and the first rains are not too far away. We've got bets going on in the camp. I think Brian's bet is coming up now in the next couple of days. I think it's the 10th, no, it is the 10th or the 15th or the 20th of September. I know we've got bets going all the way through until the 15th of September for our very big rains here. Rains across 20 mils, which is about that much of rain in any given fall, and that is the end of spring, basically, when summer starts. All right, off we go. Carry on with our... we've got Brent, who's got a bird nest to show you. So this is a multi-layered apartment building. There we've got the Vultures, being the biggest in the penthouse. And just a floor down, there's a Wahlbergs eagle in its nest. So we've got 2 predators in their nests right next to each other, and they seem to be getting on okay for now. And of course, in the cheap seats out on the edge are the buffalo weavers. And there is even a buffalo weaver. Looks like one, is it? It is 2. There we go. 3 bird species all sharing the same tree. Lovely big knobthorn tree. We're down on Cheetah Plains.
And on Cheetah Plains, I've got a report about a firm favourite of all of ours, and I've seen his tracks, but unfortunately they seem to get further to the south. But Sindile was seen just behind the Cheetah Plains Lodge last night, and he's carried on in this little river system, and I was really hoping he was going to come out this way, but no such luck, so we're going to keep on looking for the Styx Pride. So let's carry on our adventure here in the east. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you want to ask any questions. And hopefully the big cats of Cheetah Plains are going to be this absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Okay, so this is a good area. Not of them. Oh, what have we got here? So I'm hoping for lion tracks or leopard tracks. Okay, nothing here. So while we continue our adventure, let's go see what James is up to.
Now, everybody, I warn you again, it's going to be slightly macabre. I have chopped the woodpecker's head in half. If you are a sensitive viewer and you've perhaps just had something to eat, you might want to skip this next bit. Here is Woody's head. There is Woody's head in cross-section. Nice, David?
Yum, yum.
Yes. Now what you can see, I'm just going to look at the screen so that I can see where I'm pointing. There is a spongy material that protects his brain from being hurt. So the sort of pinky bit to the back and behind there, that stuff there, is his brain. And then in front of that and underneath it, there is that spongy stuff that absorbs the shock when he smashes his head, of course, into the bark and hard wood out of which he drills the insects that he eats. Now we'll have a look at it under the microscope. This is probably a bit like watching a live surgery, perhaps, as executed by a man with a small knife as opposed to a scalpel. Now let's have a look there. That's the spongy stuff there. That's the spongy material going into his beak, you can see there. And then his brain is there. That's his brain, that smooth stuff. So, I mean, that is quite interesting. It's also pretty, well, I mean, it's not something you want to see all the time. So I don't know that we'll keep Woody in this state. I think we'll probably hand him to the ants and scavengers of the wilderness and send him on his way with the great thanks for the sacrifice that he has made in order to edify us as to the length of his tongue and the sponginess of the brain case that he has. Let us go and dispose of Woody. What do you think, David?
Yes, good idea.
I think it's a very good idea. Here is my scalpel. You can see a very fine... Yeah, now, Gabe, this is a very, very important point. Just quickly, sorry, Dave, I'm going to show them. We do absolutely use hand sanitizer, Dave. And so, yeah, I'm very careful about that. It's not, I mean, I remember dissecting a rat when I was at university. It was my very first sort of attempt at surgery. A great day it was. And we didn't use any kind of cleaning materials. We didn't worry about any sort of sterilization. But I think it is important that we do that sort of thing. And, I mean, ideally I should use gloves. So if you are a younger viewer and you want to do this, and this is not a bad thing to do, it's a really good way to discover animals and their bits and pieces. Good idea to wear perhaps latex gloves while you do it. Righty, we're going to go towards another advertisement break. While we do that, well, I might bury Woody, I think. Come back, you'll see the lions. Hopefully Brent will have some luck with the leopards. We'll see you later. Right, we're back with TV, everybody. Internet, I mean. Sorry, I'm just listening to the final control there. Woody is now going to be buried. And then we'll make a little mark here, of course, for him. We'll make his grave over there, and I shall do that while you are looking at the bird that Brent Leo Smith has found on Cheetah Plains.
Now, this is absolutely a fascinating dance that's going on. It's a courtship display by grey-headed bushrights. Look at that. You can hear them. Isn't that incredible? They're going to hop out into the open again shortly. Just going to wait. Oh, they've gone deeper. Do you hear that wing, that beak clicking? There we go. Oh, off they go. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, there's another bird, Brian. If we come off to the left of the tree they originally started in, and there. Where's he gone? Oh, he flew. Well, anyway, that was wonderful to see that little display by the orange-breasted bushrights. That's something we see too often. We're now right on the western edge of Cheetah Plains in search of the Styx lions. It sounds like tracks of Sindile headed further west. So unfortunately, oh, you never know, he might turn around and pop back. Ah, there we go. And a beautiful bird. I think, oh, here's one for you guys to identify. Let me know if you know what bird that is. Send your answers through to #SafariLive on Twitter. Oh, beautiful. Look at the red eye. That's one of the diagnostic features of this bird. Oh, he's itchy this morning. So one beautiful thing about these clear early mornings, the birds are very active while it's still cool. So we do get a chance to do some nice bird watching. Beautiful. Okay, well, I'm going to keep checking very carefully around here. And I think I've just spotted something, so I'll try to figure out what's going on. Jamie has got the smallest member of the order Carnivora.
The smallest and, well, would we say cutest? We've just been with lion cubs, so I suppose it's a difficult comparison to make. But definitely very sweet little dwarf mongoose, and we've arrived at perfect timing as they are just starting to emerge from their burrows. The nice thing about this quarantine group and quarantine family is that they are relatively comfortable with our vehicle presence, which means they will start to pop up soon. They're just having a little bit of a lazy start. This is the earliest riser. The others are all in those termite holes, and every now and again a head just peeks out over the top. Let's try. Ah. Good morning. How cute is that? Oh, and gone. Bye. Is it still too early? Come on. We've just got to be patient. I've sat with dwarf mongoose before, to the point, and I've just been very, very quiet, that they have come right up and sniffed and nibbled on my tyres. Hello. Surprise! I wonder how many of them are going to start popping their heads out as we sit here and watch them. And from the largest of our carnivore species to the absolute smallest, welcome back on your live safari experience here in the middle of Nkuhuma Private Game Reserve. And what a treat we have for you this morning. This is the smallest member of the carnivore family, a little group of dwarf mongoose, and they are just waking up, popping their heads out of the holes and starting to emerge. Now, my name is Jamie, and you are on a live safari experience, which means that you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. And we get to just sit and watch as these wonderful little creatures decide to start popping their heads out of the holes. Let's see if we can't get them to come out. Nope, I've lost my touch. They're not even looking at me. Now, dwarf mongoose in midwinter tend to be rather lazy risers. Oh, look at those sharp teeth. What that means is that they wait until it's quite a lot warmer before they start to pop their heads out. But on spring mornings like this morning, emerging at 7 o'clock in the morning is not beyond them. Although some of them, just like people, are a little bit more, it's a bit easier for some of them to get started in the morning. Let's put it that way. And those two are early risers, and the early dwarf mongoose catches the scorpion, in theory. Yes, good morning. What they'll spend their first sort of half an hour to 45 minutes doing in the morning is coming out and sitting and sunbathing. It's like the dwarf mongoose equivalent of your cup of coffee. Their morning rituals, stopping to groom each other and reaffirm their bonds. Oh no, that's tragic. And we're back. I have absolutely no idea how I did that. My apologies. Apparently I disappeared. That's alright. You had the mongoose to entertain you. That little one that's popped its head out on the right is my favourite. Come on. There we go. The tiniest of little creatures with a fascinating social structure. And we've just been with, as we said, the largest carnivore, the lions, with their social structure. The dwarf mongoose have a slightly different approach. We saw all the little cubs moving from pride member to pride member and doing what's known as allo-suckling. Dwarf mongoose, instead of all of the females having babies, only one will. She is the alpha female, and she doesn't tolerate any other offspring being born. What she'll do, and what the entire family will do, is be devoted to caring for the offspring of the alpha pair. A little bit of a contrast to the way that the social structure of the lions has evolved. While we sit here and wait for the mongoose to decide to pop out or whether or not they're going to, let's go back. It's such a beautiful morning for a stroll, don't you think? Let's go back to Stef.
Just have a look at this. Looks like a bomb has gone off underneath this knobthorn acacia, but no, it is actually just it's just been pushed over and eaten by an elephant. And all of these ends are where the elephant snapped off the roots of this particular knobthorn and have eaten it. But because the substrate was so sandy, it's allowed us a unique view at its root systems. Acacias are well known for having what we call a taproot. A taproot is a long single root that is, according to the theory that I've read anyway, that goes straight down. But this is the taproot that I'm holding right now. But it looks like it was shared in 3 equal parts between this particular part right here, this, the main taproot, it looks like, and then this one here, which also, but none of it goes straight down. If I have a look, if you come around this side of the tree and you come and have a look at the the tree itself. Here's the tree itself. Here's the main stem. And then rather than a continuation of this root out towards your direction at the moment, these roots bend at 90 degrees as soon as they go into the ground. I just find this absolutely fascinating. Acacias are supposed to have some of the deepest root systems in the bush out here, and that's what makes them flower so early and what makes them leaf so early, is that they have access to water. And while that may be true in under perfect conditions, this particular tree just shows that it's not always the truth, that something under the ground over here keeps these roots, well, keeps them going out horizontally, and that was why it was so easy to push this tree over, I think. It just didn't have a deep enough anchor. It's incredible. It also gives us a nice insight into how elephants pushing down trees help animals that can't reach as high as what they can. So now, rather than this tree only accessible to giraffe and elephant, now this tree becomes accessible to everything, from steenbok all the way up to kudu, and then also giraffe and elephant. This is unfortunately going to kill this tree. I don't think this tree will survive this particular amount of damage. But in a lot of cases, acacias that are pushed over like this, or broken down in these particular cases, can carry on growing. And they will carry on growing and have this this leafy barrier that now is created and is accessible to other animals. This in turn also forms a windbreak, and this is where I think this particular tree is going to be so vital. As this tree dies, the branches are going to start falling down into an ever-increasingly thicker mat of vegetation, or at least dry sticks, at about this level. As the wind blows the grass seeds around in December, January, the wind is going to blow these grass seeds into this tangle of sticks. The grass seeds are going to drop underneath the branches out here, and you're going to get what we call a seed bank. Because it's so thorny, because this particular barrier is so impenetrable, the seeds of the grass are allowed to grow, and from there will propagate more seeds into the bush around them. And this is what we call, as I said, a seed bank because of that. Come and have a closer look at these thorns. They have to be one of the most wicked thorns to get stuck in. You don't want to be stuck in a thorn tree like this. You pretty much won't go anywhere. Have a look at that. You'll be able to stick your arm in, but getting your arm out again is going to be a different story. Similar thing, if I had a very sensitive nose, would do exactly that. Very nice. It's given us some decent view of some of this lichen that's growing on here. Now, lichen is a plant that is made up of a symbiotic relationship between algae and fungus. The algae has chlorophyll in it and can photosynthesize and make sugars from that. The fungus utilizes the plant material to make carbohydrates, and together they live together in these leafy sheaths, and together they grow and they spread, and it is called lichen. This partnership, I would say, but it's one organism, one was not a creature, but it's one plant. And on trees and plants where nutrition is easy to find, they grow relatively quickly. But on rocks where nutrition is not easy to find, they grow very, very slowly, up to 1 centimeter per 100 years. That's as big as my fingernail every 100 years. Interesting, hey? Now, another man that is incredibly interesting is Mr. James Henry. And what is even better is we have him crawling around outside of his tent.
Indeed, I am crawling around outside the tent, everybody, and I'm crawling around outside the tent because Herbert yesterday found us this rather astounding nest, which he says is a waxbill's nest. It had fallen from the tree onto the ground, but in it, everyone, is a little egg. which has been rejected. Now, I must just say that we did not take this out of a tree. It fell to the ground, and I think this is probably last season's egg. It's covered in waxbill dung, as you can see there. Can you see that, Dave? Oh no, it's come apart. There we are. Tiny little egg. And from that would have emerged a little baby waxbill. Unfortunately, this baby waxbill did not make it out of its egg. What we're going to do now is go and examine whether we can find perhaps some mites. Now, we have seen the Styx cubs who Brent's looking for, and we've seen that they do seem to have what we think is sarcoptic mange, which is a mange caused by mites. I think we're quite quick to make that diagnosis. There are lots and lots of different kinds of mange that animals can get out here. It may or may not be sarcoptic mange, but let's see if we can find a mite in here, and we'll see what it is all about, really. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith now. He is not with the Styx Pride, he is with something infinitely rarer. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
A wonderful flock of ground hornbills. There's 6 of them, including a juvenile. Unfortunately, we only got a good sight of one at the moment. We just watched one of them feed a little snake to the youngster. Now, I'll try and get you a view of the youngster, because you'll see he doesn't quite have that developed red on the face like the adults. There's that little one gone. Oh, that one looks like this one looks like it's catching something. Oh, whatever it is, it's been swallowed. So there you can see, where's the juvenile now? I'll turn you. There we go. See the yellow, not quite red yet, on the hornbill on the left. One of the longest lived birds we get out here. They're living up to about 40 years. We've been lucky enough, we've been seeing them quite frequently down here on Cheetah Plains. There's 2 juveniles in the group and 4 adults. And they're marching off south into Mala Mala. Oh, dove just appeared on top of frame, flying directly at us there. Very positive to see 2 sub-adults. They take an incredibly long time to grow up, and often they will stay in their natal group for their whole life. Very particular feeders, and very finicky when it comes to nesting. They need very, very specific set of criteria for a nest. It has to be a big hollow tree, and normally in this part of the world they're found in jackalberry hollows. But if anything affects them around the nest, they will abandon that nest, and they might not mate or breed again for 10 years. And it's one of the reasons that they are so endangered. Probably one of the biggest things that knocked the ground hornbill population early on was pesticides. Oh. Brian talks to them. Have a word, Brian. Yeah, there. There we go. There's Brian's rendition of a ground hornbill calling. Okay, well, let's leave those ground hornbills to carry on their morning mission. And we're going to do the same. So far, the big cats at Cheetah Plains have not been playing along. We haven't even seen a footprint. While we continue in search of the big cats of Cheetah Plains, or anything for that matter, it seems like birds are our forte this morning. Let's go back to Stef, who actually has a mammal.
We definitely do have a mammal. We've got a zebra in the distance. Doesn't seem like he wants to play with us, in actual fact, of letting us get a little bit closer. But that is just because we're on foot. And don't forget, man, an animal like this, or a potential food source, has been in competition for many, many years. Many thousands, many hundreds of thousands of years, in fact. And they have this sort of natural distrust of man on foot. Now, although we don't do any hunting of animals in this particular area, they still retain that sort of genetic fear for man on foot. And we'll see if we can get a little bit closer in the next couple of minutes. Let's see if we can go a bit closer there, Jean-Jacques. Come, let's go. It looks like there's more than one zebra. I'm going to opt for a more direct approach because of the fact that, quite simply, the wind is blowing across like this. So we won't be blowing our scent directly onto the zebra. Let's see if that strategy works. You can see that zebra there in the distance. At least we got to show you a zebra. Now there's he walking off. They're in this area because this is pretty much the last couple of patches of grass that we can see. You can see that the grass cover here is not too bad in actual fact. You can see that even though the termites have been at it and even though the zebra have been at it, it's not, these tufts of grass are still substantial enough to, I suppose, support things like elephant and zebra and hippo. Oh, there's just such a fantastic smell to this type of grass. It's sort of a wintry grass smell. Smell? No? Oh, it's a beautiful smell. It's sort of, I don't know how to say it. It gives me these feelings of these crisp mornings and these misty, crisp mornings in winter. It's lovely. But I'm going to leave that over there for the next zebra to come along and eat it. And we're going to move over to James in the tent.
Just outside the tent, everybody, there's a white-browed scrub robin going. Davey's there. He's actually just on top of the tree there. You see him? He's perched on the tree there. He's just flying up over the top of us. He's no, he's gone. Anyway, that's just to prove that this is the best office in all the world, or laboratory, as it has been today, a surgery indeed. Now, we've been microscoping this blue waxbill's nest. We haven't found a mite, but what we have found was a worm of some sort. It was a larva, I suspect of a beetle, but unfortunately it has managed to give us the slip, and it's a tiny little thing. Probably only about, I would say, about a meter across, a millimeter across. And so I can't actually see it with my naked eye. There. Look at that, everybody. Oh, look. There it goes, everyone. Now, the reason I say this is a larva, an insect, as opposed to a genuine worm, is that if you look carefully, it's actually only got 6 legs. It's got 6 legs at the front and a couple of suckers at the back, but basically it's like a caterpillar. And I think it's going to turn into one of those little beetles. See his hairs? He's quite a hairy fellow. I think that is just amazing. Isn't that astounding? So, like I say, a millimeter or so, well, maybe 2 millimeters long. There, trying to eat. That's interesting. Let's just watch what it eats. In the same way that, sorry, my focus, it's very finicky. Let's see what he's trying to eat here. Because of course at the larval stage he'll be eating extensively. And I wonder if he doesn't eat keratin, the keratin of the feathers. Either the keratin of the feathers or perhaps something in the feces or urine of the birds. And then I suspect he'll pupate in this nest and then become a beetle inside. I think that is rather spectacular. See, he's producing silk as well. Of course, because he will have to go into, at some stage, he'll have to go into cocoon. Now that is, he's standing there on a dung ball, a wax-billed dung ball. The white bit there, the uric acid that forms on the top of the feces and urine or waste products there. Maybe he's going to eat that. Or waste products of birds and reptiles. Look at him. There we are. Look at him eating. Isn't it amazing to get a micro view of the world like this? Then just look at the left-hand bottom side of the dung ball. You can see the little suckers that he's got there. Those are not legs. See that? They're like little sort of, well, yeah, suckers basically. And if you look at the front of him, there you can see the legs moving now. There are the legs. There's little claws on them, all 6 of them. 1, 2, 3 on this side, 3 on the other. And at the back, I'll just try and focus in on them, the suckers. 3 each as well. And that, of course, is why those inchworms, which sort of move along in that inchworming fashion, move like they do. Gosh, how very, very fascinating indeed. So I think we've decided quite successfully that he is a dung eater. That is so special. Wowee. Was that not amazing? So I'm not sure what kind of beetle he is, but just something very special to be watching. Amazing. I'm going to keep looking in this nest for different things. While we do that, Jamie has got something, well, flying.
Oh, look at this. It's been a long time since we've had a chance to see a hoopoe, and we've got him calling. Just listen. It's incredible. I don't think we've had many opportunities to experience this. Oh! And the opportunity is almost gone. Well done, VM. How awesome was that? Do we have the best cameraman, or do we have the best cameraman? Yes, we have the best cameraman. That was absolutely wonderful. That was a hoopoe, and many of you will actually be familiar with them. You do get them in other parts of the world as well. So that sound, that whoop whoop, well, it's not very difficult to guess where the name comes from, is it? Whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. I want to try something. I left the dwarf mongoose for now. I don't know if this is going to work. But yesterday I found a nesting pair of Scops owls in our garden at Inger's. I want to try and see. I don't think we're going to be able to get a view, but I'm going to give it a go. They're just outside Mr. Voz's room. Alex Voz, our Russian genius. I'm going to try and see if there's going to be a way to get you a view of them. If not, then I promise I'll borrow Brent's camera and I'll take a picture of them. Which tree was it now? So this is where we live. I'm getting a behind-the-scenes glimpse into our world, and I happen to know that Mr. Voz was in final control, so we're not running the risk of bumping into him while he's just waking up. Oh, this might not have been my brightest idea. I can't even remember which tree it was. See if they're calling, because that's how I found them this morning. They were in the sort of the little trees on the left-hand side of the house. That's what we're listening for. Come on, Scops. They're the tiniest of the owl species, and they're very, very difficult to spot. And I think this might not have been my best idea. Not my best plan in the entire world. I'll show you a picture of what a scops owl looks like. How's that? And then I will take a picture of them if they're still there. And when I'm finished with our sunrise safari, and if Brent lets me borrow his camera, which of course he will. Or, yes, he will. Right, what does a pearl-spotted owlet, sorry, not a pearl-spotted owlet, a scops owlet look like? It's a parrot. I can hear a parrot. Yes. Well done, Vim. You'll have a look at a brown-headed parrot instead, as they flutter off frantically. Awesome. Not the bird we were going for, but a lovely bird nevertheless. The African scops owl. Beautiful little birds, and they just have such grumpy... Now, this artist has been flattering to the scops owl, because they have incredibly grumpy expressions. They look so thoroughly unimpressed with you when you find them. That's a more accurate representation. Narrowed eyes glaring at you. That's the rufous morph, and then the grey morph is the one that we have living in the garden. They stare at you. They're just a little bit larger than my palm, or than my hand, but only by a little bit. Tiny, tiny little owls with their beautiful ear tufts. So they're lovely little birds, and I would have really liked to have been able to show you, but I think I slightly, I think I slightly overestimated or underestimated the distance between the road and the back of Inga's house. Sorry about that. It was a good attempt. I tried. Let's go and see what else we can find you. Now, I've been listening to the Game Drive channel, and it sounds as though, for those of you who sent through those updates on Tingana, it sounds as though he has wandered towards Buffelshoek. I'll keep listening to see if that is the case. Gone up towards Sydney's dam side, and by the sound of the alarm calls, he might be there. But that, of course, it could be Mvula. And Tingana might have given us the slip and gone elsewhere. So I'm going to go and check the western boundary of Juma before we make our way back to that lion sighting. And then to go and do a good scan for the big male leopard, Tingana, who often proves to be quite elusive. And of course, there's no better way to search for leopards than to look on foot. And Stef has the inimitable Herbert with him. Let's go and see if they found anything exciting.
Walking around over here looking for any sign of these leopards, we have actually managed to listen or hear of some signs. We're walking towards an area now where we heard some kudu or nyala bulls barking just now. And that bark is in response to seeing a predator. The last tracks of these leopard that Jamie is talking about, of Tingana at least anyway, are moving out in the direction straight at your lens, or straight at you and out at the back. But before we go and carry on looking for leopards, I just wanted to share this with you. This is the larder of a southern tree squirrel. Have a look at this. These are marula nuts, and the nut has a seed in it, usually 2. In this particular case, 3 seeds. Have a look there. And the squirrel has eaten out, has chewed away that thick woody casing around the marula nut and has extricated the seed. Have a look at that. And there. Now, you probably find that these nuts came from the closest marula tree. And the closest marula tree to where we are right now is that one behind me. And my feeling is that the squirrel would collect the nuts or the seeds on the floor, and then this would be the first cavity or tree cavity that he or she could find, running here storing nuts. And I mean, there must be, let's just quickly count, I'll put them up in my hands here for you. There's just, I don't know how many years worth of nuts there are here, but they're definitely enough to keep the squirrel properly fed for a dry season. This is just in one area, in one patch, hey? No. Have a look at this. That's just in one patch. That's awesome. Now, I don't know exactly where the squirrel has gone, but you probably find that with the amount of fruit that a marula tree can produce, and I mean they can produce bunches of these fruit, you probably find that this squirrel has a larder in almost every cavity around this tree, and will have similar larders in every cavity around every other marula tree that's growing in this area. And there are quite a few. You can see this one here behind me, there's one over there, there's another one at the back of that one, and there's another one down there, and that's probably about the limit of the range of the southern tree squirrel. They have quite a small territory, about the size of your house and yard. So I'd say a suburbed house and yard. That's about as big as a southern tree squirrel's territory gets about out here. That's awesome. Right, so off we go on in further search for our leopard. And Brent is on Cheetah Plains at the moment. Fantastic.
Well, the big cats of Cheetah Plains are proving to be somewhat tardy, I think is the correct word this morning. They're late. They haven't pitched up. I'm going to have a word with them. And look, there's a single vulture. He's also wondering, where could the big cats of Cheetah Plains be? Here we go. One poor vulture. Oh no, but there's more vultures, Brian. All around us. What could these vultures have spotted? Could there be a tardy cat around? I think it needs further investigation. What do you think, Brian? I think it needs further investigation. Let's go investigate. What could it be, one asks? Well, there's a lot of vultures around here. Maybe the Styx Pride have had some luck. Well then, to James, Joanne and Deborah, it indeed was a black-backed puffback. That was that little bird from the bird quiz. Now, let's go see. Have the Styx Pride sent another buffalo down the river Styx? So when I first got to know the Styx Pride many moons ago, they were a very big pride, not just 3 lionesses as we have now, but there were about 12 lionesses. And the story goes that they got their name because they were such successful hunters that they sent many a creature down the river Styx. I just need to see where I am. Okay, I think it's worth looking down here. All the vultures were centered around that area. Okay. Now with this drought, there's tracks of a herd of buffalo here, running tracks. Here we go. Oh, more vultures. Lots and lots of vultures. And there's Ephraim. What is F looking at, I wonder? Could he be looking at the vultures like us? How's it, F? Very good, and yourself, Nkuhumas?
And your light is still on.
Is my light still on? Oh, thank you. I forgot them on today. Okay. Down that side? And the one side? This side? Okay. Well, it looks like the Styx Pride have sent another buffalo down the river Styx. There we go. There's the buffalo. But you're going to have to wait to see the lions, so don't go away. There's lions all around us. We can't see any of them yet, so stay tuned for the Styx Pride. Wonder where they are. Of course, they're right in front of us, actually. Well, at least some of the cubs. So, here we go. Little ones having a scratch, shame. Oh. Itchy, itchy, itchy. Using that fallen marula as a rubbing post. Oh, shame. Okay, let's move a little bit, see what else is around. Lots of vultures. And of course, well, we've got some of the cubs now. Where are the lioness? Oh, there are cubs everywhere, spread out around us. They're the vultures. 1, 2, 3, 4 cubs I can see at the moment. Okay, here's one of the cubs looking nice and fat. Hello, Scruffy. Hi, Laurie, in Arizona. Laurie would like to know, would the male cubs ever join their fathers in a coalition? No, they would not, Laurie. Their fathers will actually chase them away. The reason for that is that they will start mating with their sisters and mothers, and they need to ensure genetic health in lions. It's one of the reasons the male cubs are chased away when they get to about 2.5, 3 years old. Now, Laurie's also wondering, would the Styx and Nkuhumas ever join forces? There's a possibility that the young males of both those prides might join forces, but the prides themselves, no. They are different females, and they will actually fight each other for territory. Now, at the moment, the Styx cubs and the adults are suffering from mange, which is causing them to look a little bit draggled and do quite a lot of scratching. Oh, that one's looking particularly bad. That's one of the smallest Styx cub. Is really not looking well. There he is there. Fat belly, but he's almost got no hair. Okay, let's go have a look at the carcass. I can see one lioness now. So of course there are 3 lionesses in the Styx Pride, and the last time I saw them there were 6 cubs. There could have been 7. Welcome back, and here we are with the Styx. And of course, as I said, they sent another buffalo down the river Styx. And isn't this exciting? This is our other main pride. We see a lot of, we've been with Jamie and the Nkuhuma Pride in the west. We're way in the east with the Styx Pride. And there are 3 lionesses in this pride. And I'm not sure how many cubs at the moment. There were originally 8, but the last time I saw them, there were only 7. And it looks like they've caught a buffalo cow here. I've eaten quite a bit of it. And one lioness is lying up close to ensure the vultures do not come down and steal their hard-earned meal. The rest of the pride are spread out in little bits of shade behind that lioness. There is a male around here somewhere. We're going to go look for him. He's part of a coalition of 4 big males known as the Birmingham Boys. Now this buffalo is quite exposed, not much shade around here. Therefore, unfortunately for them, one lioness has to keep tabs, make sure the vultures don't descend and devour. There you go, you can see they've eaten the cheeks, and they've eaten quite a bit from the rear as well, but lots of meat left here. Now the buffalo are having a particularly torrid time at the moment, lacking in a bit of condition due to the drought, and the lions are taking advantage. Between the Styx and the Nkuhumas in the last 2 weeks or so, I probably think must be 5 or 6 buffalo, maybe even a few more, have descended down the river Styx. So we're going to go have a look for that big male lion that's sleeping around here somewhere. While we do that, let's go back to James, who's sitting pretty in his tent.